Name's Reth, but you can call me Trouble. I'm gonna call you Daddy in a second. I try to be as open-minded when it comes to gaming and genres in general as possible. You will often find me reading books in a genre I've never read before, or watching movies, or listening to songs and playing games in genres that I haven't interacted with or haven't interacted with much, in an attempt to find something that I like. I have things that I enjoy more than others, but generally speaking, I have very broad tastes in the media that I consume. And so occasionally, whenever a person in my community offers to donate a game to my content and wants to see my reaction to something, I am very open to being able to do that as much as I can. I can't always promise that if you donate a game to me that I'm going to be able to cover it, or that I'm even going to cover it at all outside of maybe a Twitch stream or two, because at the end of the day, it's not always necessarily going to be something that I feel like I can make content around. Maybe we'll play it for, 30 minutes or an hour or something and see how it is, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I think there's going to be anything interesting to say about it. So if you think that this video being donated by a member of the community means that you could just send me a game and I'll make a video on it, I don't want to get your hopes up on that. That's probably not going to happen all the time. But when I was approached by one of my VIPs, a very long time member of the channel, Bogus, they actually created fan-made content for me before that we've reacted to several times on this channel. They sent me what is very clearly one of their favorite games, called the Stanley Parable. Now, I have heard about the Stanley Parable for a good chunk of time. I know that a lot of gaming YouTubers have played it and stuff like that, and it's supposed to be like a really funny content game to see reactions to, and I definitely got a lot of reactions. I definitely got a lot of stuff that I'm going to be putting in next week's clip compilation, but I do not believe that this is a game that I can tell you with any amount of confidence that I like. And a large part of that has to do with the fact that the Stanley Parable simply tries too hard to be funny and unique. It was a game made in 2012, released in 2013, and it's very, very obvious that that is the time period where it came out in, because the lulz random humor of that decade is very clear in its creation and its almost DNA, I want to say. Like, the early 2010s was very wrought with unfunny lulz random humor, which people tried their best to be as out there and alien as possible in an attempt to be comedic. And I'm not going to get into like the history of where that started and stuff like that, because that requires research that I don't want to do. But throughout the entirety of the Stanley Parable, the game was not funny to me. And the fact that it was trying so hard to be funny is what really made me just kind of bored with the whole thing. I don't think we even lasted a full hour playing. I think I made it to like 55 minutes before I cut the game off. We ended up getting like 5 different endings or something like that. 5 or 6 different endings within an hour, of which I was told there's about 40. And I'm going to be so for real with you, I don't get the appeal. I don't understand it. You are essentially playing the same game over and over again while doing different things and clicking on random stuff and hoping that it's going to lead to you getting something different to happen. And as I was playing through the Stanley Parable, my only real thought was, God, I wish I was doing literally anything else. And this is no hate to my channel member who gifted me the game, because they obviously love this game, and like I told them on stream, live on stream, I am forever grateful that they respect my opinion and love my content enough that they wanted to see how I reacted to their favorite game. And this is the other kind of danger in donating games to me to react to, because if I don't like something, I'm never going to hide that reaction. I'm not going to say I hated the Stanley Parable. I didn't. I greatly dislike it, however, because the game itself is boring. The entire point of the game is to unlock as many different endings as you possibly can, which sounds like a fun concept, But in practice, what that provides you is a game that is just dull. Listening to the same voice, going down the same hallways, doing the same things over and over and over and over again, and trying to look for slight differences to provide a different result. This frustrates me to no end because it's not done in like a puzzly nature, right? It's not like you're presented with this one set of rooms and there's a puzzle to figure out. It is done with the narrator telling you to do something, and you either follow what the narrator tells you or you defy the narrator at certain points. And the humor in the game is supposed to come from the defiance, but the defiance doesn't actually really have consequences to your actions. I could see if this was a game where you were expected to take a linear path and every defiance led to death in some way. And then they could do something that's funny with the deaths, like different death animations or, you know, more out there, unique, weird ways to die, right? But instead, you die sometimes, but other times the narrator just restarts the game for you. And other times this happens, and other times something else. And it just really feels boring and almost ironically streamlined, right? Like the humor is streamlined, the game is streamlined, everything feels very straightforward and frustrating, and it feels more like a pet project than it does an actual game. And I just simply don't like that. I don't like the aspect of forcing comedy onto me. As somebody who's been doing comedy for 22 years at this point. Yeah, no, 24 years. I'm 33. I've been doing it since I was 9. So somebody who's been doing comedy for a very, very fucking long time, I understand comedic timing. I understand how to write something and make it funny. And I also understand that not everything you do to be funny is necessarily going to come across as funny, right? Every comedian, no matter how great they are, bombs at some point. Every comedian, no matter how great they are, will write a joke or attempt an action or do something that doesn't quite land. There is no such thing as a perfect comedian that can make you laugh every single time they try to do a punchline. I also recognize that for the most part, comedy is subjective. It depends on the person it's being aimed at. And maybe my problem is that I outgrew the lulz random humor and the type of humor that the Stanley Parable tries to push while that humor was being pushed by the internet. I moved away from it a long time ago. I didn't like it. I never really enjoyed that style of humor. And it feels very... The Stanley Parable feels very... Deadpool is my favorite superhero. Shea Gorath is my favorite Elder Scrolls Daedric Prince. Like, it falls into that category of, you know, okay, I guess, bro. Like, you like chaos and randomness and everything. And so I just really didn't like the Stanley Parable. I'm sorry to say, but I did find it something interesting to talk about. And so that's why I'm talking about it. But yeah, other than that, great big special thank you to my channel members listed on screen now. If you want to find out how to become a channel member today, get awesome perks like seeing videos early, merch discount codes, and more, then please click that join button down below. I love you guys so much, and I will see you